Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from at home here in Guyana, internationally, around the world, Region 11. Let's fight, folks. Happy to see you. Happy to see you. Happy that you choose to be here with us this evening. Would rather you guys be in no other place than here. And as you come on this evening, as you join the live stream, you guys know what you got to do. You know what you got to do. I'm just trying to making sure that we are set at our end and all is well. And all is well. Good to see each and every one of you again. Let's fight, folks. Let's fight. Let's fight. Welcome in the ring. Welcome in the ring. And we have room for so many more of you. So many more as you join us this evening. Let's fight, guys. Let's fight. Let's fight. Ready to go. We are fired up at this end, guys. And we are ready to go. We don't know about you, but we are ready to go. Good to see you guys. Good to see each and every one of you. And we're getting set at our end. And we're happy that you guys are getting set at your end as well. Again, tremendously grateful to see all of you here this evening already. Y'all are wasting time. Y'all here already, folks. We are ready as well. We got the hot topics. We ain't playing tonight. We aren't playing tonight, folks. We ain't having it. We are not having it. We have the hot topics. And we are good to go. Good to go. Good to go, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. Wherever you're joining us from. So many people are joining us from a lot of places, guys. We've been informed by our technical folks that folks are joining us from quite a few places. And let me start giving the shout out. Sharon Grant, and is it Anita? Anita, I'm trying to go back to see Anita's name there. I see Gloria Phrases with us tonight. Good to see you, Gloria. All the other folks, Laura Williams and Loretta Roberts, Lorraine Garnett, and I see Petula Boyce, Nehemiah Williams. Good to see each and every one of you. Good to see all of you guys. Loretta Roberts. Good to see you guys. I see Alexis as well. Let me see. What is Alexis' surname? Alexis Kelman. Good to see you there, Alexis. And Chester and Cheryl Greenwich. Andrew Cuthbert. I see Valerie Moriah. All the usual suspects. Roseanne Langevine. And I see Hazel Ramkin as well. I see Marsha Glasgow, Onessa Ward-Dean, all the usual suspects. Blessed child. Good to see you as well. Lynette Goodman and Anne-Marie Selby. Carlton, good to see you there, Carlton. And Felix, Wills Felix, am I calling it right? Esther Mel and Maureen, is it Pigot? Kenrick Verwain, Holly Hope. Good to see each and every one of you folks. Welcome in the ring. Welcome in the ring. I am fired up, guys, and I hope you are ready to go. For those folks who are joining us here in Georgetown, a very good evening to you. Those guys who are joining us in New York, good to see you guys. Those who are joining us in Linden, New Amsterdam, Bridgetown, Barbados, good to see you. Good to see the ringsiders from Vreden Hope. Good to see you guys. And those who are joining us from Buxton, good to see you as well. Purica, good to see the Purica folks who join us as well. Those folks who join us from Paramaribo, Suriname. Good to see you guys. Good to see each and every one of you. Our folks who join us in the United States of America at large. Good to see each and every one of you. Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, Barbados, as I said, Jamaica, the UK, Britain. Those folks who join us out of the UK. A good evening to each and every one of you. Folks who join us out of Antigua and Barbuda. Good to see you folks joining us from India. We got some folks joining us from India. Good to see you guys, ringsiders in India. Good to see you guys as well. Welcome to each and every one of you. Stacy Stoll and Mary Cummins, Conrad Paul, Valencia Langhorn, Tessa Isaacs, Graves Zandy. Good to see all of you. Naomi Morris, Abigail Utniel Passad. Good to see you, Tarek Patab. All of you guys, Deborah Sharona Lynch and Hazel Ramkin, Denetta Jeffrey, Anthony Higgins Arjun, Gwyneth Jones, Jamal Aziz, is it Mitroy George, and Ose, is it Ose? I missed that one. Sagittarius Queen, whoever's the Sagittarius Queen. Good to see you guys. Welcome in the ring. Let me know how you're feeling this evening. Want to see what those emojis are looking like. Want to see those shares. Guys, we got to share the live stream. Let's fight. Let's fight. Seymour George has it right. Let's fight, guys. Lots of personality. Lots of people to fight tonight. Let's fight. Lots of people to fight. Guys, we got to fight. We got to fight. We got to keep moving forward. Good to see each and every one of you. Good to see each and every one of you. And guys, I really want each and every one of you, each and every one, a woman made contact with me just today. I ain't calling names. And, she gave us a little donation. And she said, she was making this donation to move the efforts forward. She said, I want to be part of this family. And I'm sure you guys who as well want to be part of the In the Ring family, we are encouraging you guys to come on board with us. Come on board with us, partner with us on a monthly basis, and you are going to see what's going to happen, how we're going to grow from strength to strength, as we say, from grace to grace. You're going to see how this program is going to take off. And so those persons who want to be a part of that and to make a contribution, to make a donation, to make a subscription, we're available on the Cash App platform. It's the $ in the ring 592. It's the Cash App platform in the ring 592, and at PayPal it's in the ring 592 at gmail.com. At PayPal it's in the ring 592 at gmail.com. And when you go into PayPal, whatever feature says personal, choose that. Whatever feature says personal to send, choose that feature. Again, at PayPal it's in the ring 592 at gmail.com. And also we're available on the GT&T MMG system. It's 627-6963. 627-6963. And if you guys have any queries, you can also contact us on that number on our WhatsApp, 627-6963. And we're also available on Western Union and also available at MoneyGram. I know somebody was so kind enough to reach out to us from the post office, and I said, Mr. Duncan, you're saying you're not going to put up or have the post office system. I wasn't too aware that you can send money through our local post office, but I'm going to have that information for you guys. And guys, if none of these methods suit you're not afraid with any of them, again, you can make any queries at that MMG number. It's 627-6963, and we can tell you how you can touch base with us and be part of building this program with us. It will be our pleasure to answer any queries that you have. We really want you guys to help us to move from point A to B, to go again from strength to strength, to grow from strength to strength, and to move from grace to grace. Good to have each and every one of you in the ring with us this evening. Guys, it has been such a privilege. It has been such a privilege for us to be with you here each and every night. It is our privilege, ladies and gentlemen. And again, those of you who are with us, you can, for instance, you can like our Facebook page. You can follow our Facebook page, whichever Facebook page you are viewing us from. Follow that page. Take a moment and follow that page while you are sharing the live stream, while you are also making your comments, credible comments and valid viewers only. And again, we're available on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, guys. You can also follow me on Instagram at the same Instagram handle, Sherry Duncan on Instagram. You can follow me at Sherry Duncan on Twitter as well. And also we are available on YouTube. We are available on YouTube, and we are also available on I am also available on TikTok. So guys, if you're on TikTok, be sure to search for me and follow me at Sherry Duncan on TikTok. I am ticking and talking. That being said, folks, I want to get right into the hot topics. If you will allow me, quite a few things to get through. We should have MP Ganesh Mahipaul joining us this evening, and we should have also MP Coretta McDonald, who's also the General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union. We wanted to get some clarity from her and some allegations and accusations we're seeing by the fraudulent installed PPP. Who else? It's them. Folks, let's get right to it. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Heaven Fate, Gwyneth Jones, Kim Walker, Selena Fraser, Selena from Ontario, and also Candace Narayan. Good to see you, Candace. Naomi Morris, Pamela Gorick, Pamela Gorick, good to see you there. And Eva Jarek out of Connecticut. Good to see you, Yvette. Hope you're good there at work this evening. Good to see you there, putting in the work, earning your big money. Paulette Hicks and Roy Garraway. I see Gloria Rod. Is it Gloria Rod? Good to see all of you guys. Rowena McKenzie, Marlon Francois, and Gwyneth Jones, Joylyn Cook, Jenny Harry Prasad. Good to see you, Jenny. Alexis Marcus. All of you folks. Samuel Henry. Good to see you folks. So many folks are here. Anita Primo. Linda. It's going by so far. I see Barbados in the house. I see some Chinese writing. I don't know who that is, but I see some Chinese there. Ni hao. I see Nicola Jones and Wise Up, Diane Gravesandi, Sonnet and Darwin Norton and Donald Liverpool, Patricia Sharp. Is it Ria? Good to see you there, Ria. Patricia Jones, all the other folks, Samantha Jilks, all the other folks, guys. Thanks for joining us in the ring. We haven't even started the Hot Topics and 2,000 people done watching us here. Guys, good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. Let me wake y'all up. Let me wake up the Trenchista. Let's fight, folks. And let's get right to it this evening. As I said, lots to discuss. And I think we might go into the overtime this evening just a little bit. So you will forgive us if we do, guys. But first and foremost, let's start off on a very soft note. We saw Kelly Hiles, who is one of our Guyanese scholars who's living there in the diaspora in the US. Kelly has gone on to, let me get the university right, folks. Let me get the university right. I really want to wish Kelly well as she moves along in her academic pursuits. And we encourage all of you, if you guys have that inclination to pursue academic learning to a high level, we want to encourage you guys to go ahead and do that. Pursue your dreams. Don't just be on Facebook all the time. Pursue your dreams, folks. There's a big, huge world spinning outside there, and we encourage all of you guys, especially those who are academically inclined, to go ahead and pursue your dreams to the fullest. And so we want to say congratulations to Kelly Hiles. And Kelly said today on Facebook that that today for her marks the first day at Stanford Med. So she has gone on there to higher education. She says, funny enough, exactly 5 years ago today was my move-in date at Harvard. Excited to learn how to lead a life dedicated to the service of humanity, and to see where I will be in 5 years from today. Paging Dr. Hiles, hashtag. And so we want to wish Kelly Hiles all the best. She has gone on from Harvard University, and now she is at Stanford Med, and we wish her all the very, very best. We love to see our young people excelling. And again, if you know young people in the diaspora who are excelling as well, be sure to hit us up. You can perhaps send us that information via our WhatsApp. Again, it's 627-6963, and we'll be happy to feature any number of those persons. So again, congratulations to Kelly Hiles. Congratulations to Kelly Hiles. And folks, Priya Under Pressure. Priya Under Pressure today. Priya Under Pressure this week. And we hope you guys are sharing this live stream. We hope you guys aren't stingy. We hope you guys are spreading this information, the valid and credible information, ladies and gentlemen. You have to share this information. Don't be stingy. We want you guys to share. So Priya is on the immense pressure. And we know that sources very close to the installed Minister of Education, they say that they are very concerned about her mental health. They are very concerned about her mental state. They said they have not seen her like this in a very, very long time, not in the 12 months of the installed administration. And they are worried that she has kind of retreated into herself. She has gone very quiet over the last few days. And the sources very close to her says that she has been working from home. She's been avoiding the office at all costs, because as you know, there have been massive protests outside the Ministry of Education. I saw one paper yesterday said hundreds of persons turned out there for that protest. Well, if yesterday there were hundreds, today there were thousands of persons who were out there in front of the Ministry of Education, again, pushing back against this very high-handed nature of this installed regime, especially where these mandatory vaccinations are concerned, and the teachers of the Guyana Teachers Union. And as you know, folks, if you don't take the vaccine, if you don't do the PCR test, if you don't have your blue book, if you don't have your vaccination card, you are not permitted to enter government facilities. And we see also lots of private businesses are now going in this direction. Some have refused. Some NGOs, like the Catholic Church, we spoke about Bishop Allen just last evening, who said he'd rather close the church door than have half of his flock outside and half inside. And so, folks, we are monitoring exactly what is happening. But again, those who know are very, very concerned about this current posture, this current depressed posture, this current worried posture. And some persons say that the minister is almost at breaking point. But folks, we are following that, and we are going to have more details on the minister's current state as soon as we have more details on that. But again, the protests swell. The protest is swelling daily, folks. The protest is swelling daily to the point where the PPP are now retreating out of town. They are now retreating out of town, and we're going to talk a little bit about that retreat that they're making out of town. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little later on in the program. It is amazing to see how they're buckling, and there are some folks who are saying that this government, they're on the verge of collapse. They are on the verge of collapse. But folks, that being said, we are going to reserve that kind of judgment for now. For now, the crowds outside of the Ministry of Education, they are swelling on a daily basis, and of course, this has to be of grave concern to any government. And we have seen a number of protests now across the country. This is not just Georgetown. This is across the length and breadth of this country. We're going to show you some of that a little later on in the program. We saw the security personnel at the Cheddi-Jagan International Airport. We saw folks at Matthews Ridge. We saw folks at Port Kaituma. We saw folks in Berbice, across the length and breadth of this country. Again, ladies and gentlemen, so this must be very, very worrisome for this installed administration. And that being said, Priya isn't doing herself any justice here, where I think English language and English and grammar is concerned. Again, lots of her posts on social media, again, which betrays the mental state of the minister. She wants to be out there. She wants to stay relevant amid this turmoil that's happening in the education sector. And she is making lots of mistakes. And you see it on her Facebook post. Lots of mistakes with grammar and English language. It's either she has not been taught English language, grammar, vocabulary, comprehension, and those things properly. Or again, this massive strike that the Guyana Teachers Union is engaged in is having its toll on the minister. And it's only going to get worse in the coming days. We saw, as far as Region 3, taxi drivers are now donging tools, are no longer driving. They're saying that they are coming out and supporting the teachers. They are pushing back against, again, the mandatory vaccination that is happening. And as we consider that, as we look at to see this mental state of the minister, some persons say now that she has resorted to shielding. She has resorted to shielding behind workers and staff members of the Ministry of Education and using some of them as her surrogates. For instance, we see on social media Andrea Premnott, who we are made to understand, who we are reliably informed is a staff there at the Ministry of Education. We see her coming out and attacking on Priya's behalf the not only the Guyana Teachers Union, but Coretta McDonald in particular. And so we are watching that one, Andrea Premnott from the Ministry of Education. We also see another staff member from the Ministry of Education, one Begum, Samya Bash. Also, we reliably informed that this is a staff member from the Ministry of Education who is now taking on this very protective role because Priya is in such a state, regretfully, and have come out on her behalf as surrogates. We've also noticed, and analysts have said to us, look and see, now you have some of our cabinet, the installed cabinet colleagues, some of our colleagues there are now coming to her defense. We see, for instance, Charles Ramsden, who is clutching at straws and talking about who is hiding from rain. And, I see talking about, we see talking about, what's his name? Roy Ford, Member of Parliament, Attorney at Law, Shadow Minister for Legal Affairs, being at that protest. We were all Guyanese. We were all feeling the pinch. We were all feeling the squeeze, and lots of persons are standing in solidarity with the teachers. You tell me, because I'm a Guyanese, I am not a teacher, I shouldn't be out there. And so, clutching at frivolous reasons, clutching at frivolous issues. But again, all of this is part of this armament trying to shield the minister, trying to protect the minister, who is in such a terrible, terrible emotional state, emotional and mental state, according to persons who are familiar with what is happening. And this very, some persons say, a very dull and gloomy minister's secretariat there at the Ministry of Education. Again, we're going to continue to follow this and to have more information. But while all of that is happening, ladies and gentlemen, while all of that is happening, we see there is no relent to what is happening in the school system. And allegedly, based on information reaching us, we were made to understand that at Two Brothers Primary School, a teacher complained recently of not feeling well, and the HM sent her to Best Hospital. She was tested positive just yesterday. All other staff members have to go to the hospital to be tested, and one hopes that they would have gone to the hospital since that time to be tested. So we're following that front. What is transpiring at Two Brothers Primary School and that staff member who is COVID positive. We're also looking at an issue where two teachers again, this is alleged to have happened. Two teachers at the St. Gabriel's Primary School. And it is alleged that one is in the ICU, is in the COVID ICU, and this teacher in particular is pregnant. So we're following what is happening there at St. Gabriel's Primary School. We're also looking at some information coming out of Winifred Gardens Primary School as well, where we are hearing that just yesterday, another child there tested positive. They are very concerned about the school environment there, since that child, like all children, was mingling with other children in the school environment. But some parents are very concerned that the Ministry of Education seems to have known about this and did not make contact with the other parents. And since that time, we're being made to understand that there has not been any sanitizing of that school. And so the folks out of Winifred Gardens, they are very, very concerned with what is happening there. And finally, on this frontier, we're also following some information, again, coming out of the Diamond Grove Primary School, where it's also being alleged that there was a teacher who tested there for positive for COVID-19. So we are watching that. Again, those schools that we have a very close eye looking to see what comes out of this based on the information that we're receiving. Very credible information. But we have another tier to go through in terms of scrutinizing this information. That's why I keep saying allegedly before we can say we can say we have confirmed that this is what's happening. We're looking at, again, the Two Brothers Primary School, the St. Gabriel's Primary School, the Winifred Garden Primary School, and also the Diamond Grove Primary School. And folks, as always, when we have some more information for you, you will have it. Folks, as you are joining us, share the live stream. So much information I want to get through. So much information I want to share with you guys. Let's fight, folks. Let's fight. Let's fight. Let's fight. And so the lockouts continue. The lockouts continue. Ladies and gentlemen, folks from around the world, the lockouts continue, and we want to share some information on that front with you. The lockouts continue indeed. And while the lockouts continue here, it is very, very strange to see a very, very callous government. You know, Priya Manikchand, in her response to what the teachers did in terms of activating this strike, activating this strike as part of industrial action. She said it was unconscionable and uncaring. But it's not unconscionable and uncaring for them to be locking teachers out, almost hauling people out of ministries on the police escort. Look what's happening there at Best Hospital and at a number of other places, scores, hundreds of places where staff are being locked out. And while this uncaring, very uncaring government has been locking out persons, folks, we want to show you what is happening in Barbados. Again, we say that Mia is not one of our favorite people, is not one of our favorite persons by any means, but Mia seemed to have a better handle, and she has refused. Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, has refused, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, to allow her country and her government to go in this direction. Here is what she said quite recently.
Effectively, we need to have a program that allows us to boost vaccines, because the evidence is clear that vaccines can assist in saving lives. We've equally, however, in doing so, cannot forget who we are as a people. And we have determined that it is not our way to be able to mandate persons, but to reason and to be able to have and put in place the things necessary to facilitate as many persons as possible. And why? Because I'm not prepared, this government is not prepared to sacrifice 2 to 3 generations of social stability by mandating and dividing this society in ways that many of us will not see it healed before we leave this earth. To that extent, however, I also believe, as I've moved around with my ministers, with members of the social partners in the last 2 to 3 weeks, we have been engaging, as I said on the last occasion, with sectoral partners in the health sector. But in addition, we've been on the ground every day, 4 or 5 hours a day, meeting with people and talking to people. And we recognize that there are some very legitimate concerns, but there are also some legitimate constraints. And then there are those who will, for religious reasons or medical reasons, not be able to do it. But where does that leave us? As we've said from the beginning, we need to have as many Barbadians take it as humanly possible. And those Barbadians are in different age groups now. As I've indicated, more than 1 in every 2 Bajan adults have already taken a vaccine and have shown their preference by taking that vaccine. We now know 1 in every 5 children, teenagers between the age of, or children I should say, between the ages of 12 and 18 as students have already taken it. But we need to boost these numbers urgently. And in order to boost these numbers, we need to expand the fight and to get more people on board. I want to use a simple theme that keeps coming to us as a government. Each one, reach one. Each one of us, reach one. Effectively, we need to have a program that allows us to boost vaccines, because the evidence is clear that vaccines can assist in saving lives. We've equally, however, in doing so, cannot forget who we are as a people. And we have determined that it is not our way to be able to mandate persons, but to reason and to be able to have and put in place the things necessary to facilitate as many persons as possible. And why? Because I'm not prepared, this government is not prepared to sacrifice 2 to 3 generations of social stability by mandating and dividing this society in ways that many of us will not see it healed before we leave this earth. To that extent, however, I also believe, as I've moved around with my ministers, with members
folks,
of
that
the
is
social
so
partners
profound. It is so profound. We've had to play it twice for you. It is so profound. We were forced to play that twice for you. Again, she says they have refused to move in this direction because of the irreparable damage that forced vaccination can cause on their society, deepening divisions that in our lifetimes, in their lifetimes, they will not be able to heal from. They will not be able to recover from. And while on the home front here, we have gone ahead. We have gone ahead in such a crude fashion, folks, in such a crude fashion to roll out this vaccination process. And we're happy that we're seeing pushback on so many fronts. For instance, the ANUG, the New and United Ghana Party, yesterday I read from their press statement, and Citizenship Initiative, the Catholic Church, and other bodies and individuals have been coming out and asking this government to rethink this very high-handed approach. Listen to a stateswoman Listen to a Caribbean leader, and we've said it here before, that we and Mia Motley, we have our differences. We have our differences, and you all understand why. But you cannot help but to recognize a leader when you see one. And we read somewhere that leadership is like good art. You know it when you see it. And this lady is a leader. She said very clearly, this thing here has tremendous generational repercussions. And we are refusing to go in this direction, folks. She is refusing vehemently to take herself and her people in this direction. That being said, in news closer to home, the blue books is the hottest ticket in town. The blue books. This is what they're asking for, the vaccination card called the blue book for entry into your workplace as verification that you will have taken either your first dose or your second dose. Well, we are made to understand that across at least Region 4, Georgetown Central, East Coast, East Bank, there were hundreds of persons who turned up to different sites to receive the vaccination card. Waited for hours during the course of today, and no vaccination cards. They were told that they're coming soon. And so folks will have gone ahead, taken the vaccine, that is your right, and now wanting the blue book as proof, only to be told that they're out of blue books. They're out of vaccines in some instances. Now they're out of blue books. Blue books needed, folks. I hope the government watching. I hope the installed administration watching. I hope they're watching. How is it going? Folks, we know how a lot of things started. But we don't necessarily know how they're going. We know how a lot of things get started. We know how a lot of people look at one point, but we don't know how it's going. Viewers around the world, when the PPP came into office, they promised the moon and the stars. Things are not going as planned. And the education sector is just one example. Crime and how crime has been surging is just another example. Things aren't going well. And so the question we're asking this evening, as you share the live stream, is how it's going. Bridget Vigilance, how things going by you? You and the family. Denise London Welchman, what about you? How things going? Mikey Mike, how things going? Irvin Henry, what about you? How things going? Polly Ann Court, how things going? Willetta Bess, Nadia Seaford, how things going? We know a lot of things start, but we don't know how they're going. For instance, when the trenches, the Hepatites, the Crosses, the Jagabats, when they came in, big promises with the sugar industry. But people have been looking. People have been watching to see how it's going. And when we say certain things, of course, they associate, first thing they see, Sherry Duncan parliamentarian, APNU AFC. And so they say my views are biased, they're one-sided, they're prejudiced, they're jaundiced. And that is why on so many occasions, I look for quote-unquote independent people, non-political people, to hear their views. That is why our team always going through the newspapers, looking to see what's happening on television, on social media, to capture those voices. And we invite you guys to share the live stream. I want to show you how some things are going. And this is in regards to Gaisuko, the sugar industry. I want us to examine very briefly, based on a letter to the editor, how things are going. Listen to what this letter writer said. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers around the world, share the live stream for us. We want to see those emojis. Look how things going. So this is what the letter writer said. The header for the letter was Irfaan disappoints, not honoring oil promises. Irfaan promised to reopen the sugar estates to restore the 7,500 jobs government employed workers plus 2,500 jobs affiliated with sugar and 1,200 cane farmers. A year later, no private farmer has resumed planting cane. Only 450 government jobs were created at 3 estates. Of those, 150 at Skeldon were told on Monday to take their accrued month leave this year in anticipation of shutting the estate next year. Talk half and left half. And just a dozen got private affiliated jobs. Just a dozen, according to this letter writer, got private affiliated jobs. Folks, you see how it started with the promises. This is how it's going. The letter writer concludes, one Sharmila Ali, all the private businesses that shuttered when the estates were closed remain closed. No new businesses were open in the estates during the PPP's return to office. Standard of living. You and I know this only too well. Standard of living has not improved in the last 13 months. Let's not share it down in the Sharmila Ali abuse out trenches. Only those in the oil and mining business have improved standard of living. Guyanese were better off under the presidency of Jagdeo and Ramatar. I don't know about the Sharmila. I don't know about that. Income, Sharmila ends by saying, has been stagnant or declining from a year ago. Income, Sharmila says, Sharmila Ali, has been stagnant or declining from a year ago. I tend to believe, Sharmila, most of what was captured there. And again, this was Kaicho News. You can go read it for yourself. Kaicho News send me a check at the end of the month. I tend to believe most of what Sharmila is saying there. Again, we know how lots of things get started. But this is how it's going. The PP likes to talk about transparency, accountability, good governance, rule of law, corridor, unity, ministry of happiness, and catfish. But this is how it's going. This is precisely how it's going. And folks, in their manifesto, I sure the trenches don't even know when the whole manifesto. And listen to what the manifesto promised. Listen to the promises that were made. And Sharmila Ali tells us how it's going. They promise to reopen sugar estates, to re-energize the local economy in sugar communities. So much for that. Pursue productive diversification. How is that going? Provide retraining and employment opportunities for workers. How is it going? Establish transparent private sector partnerships in the sugar sector and lend support to private cane farmers. How is it going, Sharmila? No private cane farmer has been engaged 1 year later. How is it going? And finally, in their manifesto, they say they have to provide transitional support in areas where sugar estates were closed. How is it going? Pack-a-lies. Pack-a-lies. They go on to say that work to solve the problems of the industry as a whole by firstly bringing the sugar industry to break-even status. How is it going? How is it going for y'all? Huh? Folks, let me stop there. Because we know it was a pack-a-lies. It was a pack-a-lies. But not to be distracted there was another letter writer, a shorter bit, again reflecting on the PP administration that tells us what is happening at Go Invest. That tells us what is happening at Go Invest. And this was quite interesting as well. Ladies and gentlemen, bear with us. This was indictable. Somebody at Go Invest involved in a lot of things. This is not me. This is Carl Rupchan again. As we were prancing through Kaicho News, we picked up on this. This was the header of the letter. Go Invest in trouble. Go Invest in trouble. Who's head of Go Invest? Who's the CEO earning all the millions? Peter Ramsirup, a political hack and lackey. The writer says in Kaichor, Carl Rupchan. Y'all can read it for y'all if y'all think we're making up these things. Editor, this individual, they pinpoint somebody at Go Invest who doing a lot of things. Editor, this individual has been summoning project officers to from Go Invest. This individual has been summoning project officers from Go Invest, much to their displeasure and annoyance, to discuss their files. Teckup's bitter. He has been contacting these investors and promising them the stars and the moon in return for using his firm and business places. He has been contacting these investors and promising them the stars and the moon in return for them using his firms and his businesses. I want to know who this person is. People, if y'all know, tell us. We got to know this thing. This editor, Karl Rupchan, concludes, is corruption at its zenith. That's Karl Rupchan. This editor, Karl Rupchan, says, is corruption, viewers around the world, at its zenith. Karl Rupchan using some big words on us. He said it's at its zenith. I know about you, but sometimes I'm a little slow. So I have to go in the dictionary to see what zenith means. To unpack. Karl says corruption, Karl Rupchan, at Go Invest is at its zenith. According to the dictionary, zenith is the time at which something is most powerful or successful. Oh my God. So things are the top there where corruption is concerned. Karl Rupchan talking to us. Folks, Irfaan going to Anna Vagina. Irfaan going to Anna Vagina. Look like all the police and all the soldiers go with Irfaan. It's like Kim Jong-un going to the UN. And we see some newly outfitted folks in the recce team. We don't know if these are the folks from the regional security team. Remember this new police force, this paramilitary police force that they're putting in place? The new black clothes, it looked like the clothes gray now. It looked like the clothes gray. So a set of them left today. Irfaan going up tomorrow. Well, y'all know Irfaan big, so he got to get the boat for himself. But if y'all see vehicles that was on that ferry and paramilitary or parapolitical people, these are the folks. Let me give you a good look at them. They were armed to the teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers around the world, they were armed to the teeth. Folks, you see why we got to stay vigilant here? Nothing irregular. Nothing irregular. Ladies and gentlemen, let's fight. Nothing here irregular. Nothing irregular. Signs of the times. Something is up. And we keeping an eye on the issues for you guys. Something is up. Signs of the times. Look, story here now. Since Irfaan them come back, we tell y'all, is one purgatory to the next. One story to the next. We hastening on to get our guest in. I think we have our guest in the studio now. Yes, he's standing by. Son chops father 24 times. Y'all ever see story like this? Son chops father 24 times. This ain't natural. This ain't natural. Son chops father 24 times. A post-mortem examination performed on the body of 59-year-old Archelaus Anthony Miguel found that he was chopped 24 times about his body by your own son. No. This is irregular. The 26-year-old Anthony Miguel has been taken into custody and confessed to chopping his father to death on Monday. He said his father troubled him. That's what Anthony Miguel said. His father troubled him. The man chopped his father 24 times. Folks, as we hasten on, the crosses. And Ganesh got to talk to us about this. The crosses, right out of the PPP playbook. Now this jackabat here, the installed Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar, he has launched an investigation into what Anug, just yesterday we read it for you, called corruption in the farmers' cash grant. So can't watch your milk now. It is alleged that his son got contracts with this government in Region 6. It is alleged. And it's Region 6 where all the money sharing out and most of the corruption happening. And farmers in Region 6 know. They know that you got people who never plant a head of shallot, never plant a pepper tree, and got millions. And while there are farmers who rightfully should have been getting those monies, their folks, their names were struck off the list. Folks, their names were struck off the list. So cat watching milk. Remember, Irfaan himself asked Deodat Sharma, the Auditor General, for an investigation into the COVID cash grant distribution. We're still waiting on the findings. We're still waiting. So Zulfikar has launched an investigation. Folks, don't let me hold your breath on the findings. Because we're still waiting, for instance, for an investigation on these people. We are still waiting for an investigation on these jagabats here. Y'all remember them? Carl Singh, Region 10 REO, shoot the girl. Terichan Balgabin, knocked down the young teacher, killed him. We still waiting for charges. Zamal Hussain, the PPP Region 6 Vice Chairman, he knocked down a pedestrian too and killed him. We still waiting on charges. Where are the investigations? Alicia Darimple, she saw the other day with the gun story by the supermarket. She bet a policeman. She in charge yet. Son in charge yet neither. Member Parliament, Fazal Jafar Ali. He's a PPP big one in Region 6. He knocked down a 12-year-old, fled the scene, did not render assistance. He in charge yet with investigations for them. And then this jagabat, Dr. Grayson Halley, he is head of the Ghana Livestock Development Authority. He knocked down a pedestrian just yesterday in New Amsterdam. Just the other day, rather, in New Amsterdam. He didn't get charged yet with the investigations for all these people. And then you got the other set of jagabats who they had their charges, their investigation discontinued. So Irfaan, 19 fraud charges and heading to Anna Vagina. His investigation was discontinued by the DPP. Anil and the law books, his investigation discontinued. Ashley Singh, Winston Basington, remember them and the valuing land and so on and state assets and selling off to the friends and cronies? Their investigations discontinued. This is the PPP playbook. And then this bitch Claudette Singh, this vagabond, this cross, she had private criminal charges brought against her. She investigations too discontinued thanks to the DPP. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, that being said, I want to welcome the one and only Mr. Ganesh Mahipaul. Ganesh Mahipaul. Ganesh, a very good evening and welcome in the ring, sir.
Good night, Sharad. Thank you for having me again in the ring.
I am happy that you are here because you are the man who is the shadow minister for local government. And I don't know what's happening at Region 4 with the REO. So Ganesh, make it right.
Before I deal with the REO of Region 4, I want to tell you that it was reported to me not too long ago that there are about 5 persons at the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development who are fully vaccinated and tested positive for COVID-19 again. So the numbers are out of control there at the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Those are 5 persons that are confirmed, and all the staff members hopefully will now have to go and do a test to know their status. But it just goes to show how COVID is out of control and how this government has no plan in place to deal with COVID-19. You know, Sharad, if this government focuses more on the preventative measures, then there is a great possibility that we will have a reduction in the number of persons that are contracting COVID-19. But there is no focus. There is no focus from this administration in terms of promoting sanitization, promoting the regular wearing of face masks, promoting social distancing, providing to the ministries and the agencies and so on. There is no focus in terms of the preventative measures. All they are focusing on is mandatory vaccine. Everybody must get vaccinated. Whether you die of it, or you get some sickness, or some allergy or some problem raised, they don't care. As far as they're concerned, they want mandatory vaccine. These people are overdoing it now. They are turning this state into a full dictatorship. And if the people don't stand up and the people's power don't speak, then they are going to be allowing the government to ride them like jackasses. And if they want to be ridden like jackasses, then they can sit down and allow this nonsense to happen. That is exactly what I told the hire car drivers today in Region 3 when they came out of their own to protest this mandatory vaccine. And the phone call came to me and I joined them. And I said to them, I stand in solidarity with you guys. Stand up for what you believe in. Don't allow them to come and bore you and, as they wish. You must be able to make that decision whether or not you feel comfortable taking the vaccine. And the point must be made here again, as has been made many times before. The vaccination does not prevent you from getting COVID-19. So whether you are vaccinated or not, you are still vulnerable to COVID-19. The science have shown that if you are vaccinated, the likelihood of you dying from COVID-19 is smaller as opposed to if you are not vaccinated. But it did not show, the science did not show that the vaccine can't kill you itself if you have underlying sickness. So people are comfortable with more information, and that is what the government is not giving them. The people want to know if the vaccine in Guyana are authentic. They want to know if it is the real vaccine that we have. They want to know if Sheikh Al Maktoum, or whatever his name is, if he transported the vaccine to Guyana under the right condition. They want to know that when Sheikh Al Maktoum bought the vaccine from whichever country he bought it from, or whichever manufacturer, it was transported in the right manner to the Al Maktoum and then to Guyana. They want to know that the efficacy of the vaccine is still intact. They want to know that the authenticity of the vaccine is there, because we did find fake vaccines on the world market in Mexico, and we also have an article from the Norwegian newspaper that speaks to fake vaccine. This madman that we have at the Ministry of Public Health, Frank Anthony, instead of him providing the information to the citizenry, instead of him making the people feel more comfortable by him being more open to tell us the details of these vaccines, let us know the expiration date of these vaccines because you had them so long. He instead stays silent, and the entire installed cabal is on a rampage forcing people to take vaccines. Utter nonsense, disrespectful, wickedness, demonic behavior in its entirety. Shame on the PPP. Shame. If I may turn my attention now to this REO that we have in Region 4, Mr. Duncan. You're mute.
Just before I go there, I played for our viewers what Mia Motley would have said, and the distinction as a leader. We have our differences, but Mia Motley is clearly a leader, at least on COVID governance. And here you have an administration at home. You have a COVID surge, Ganesh, a COVID surge amidst all of these increasing numbers. And you have the government going to hold massive meetings in Anna Vagina. Could that be a conscionable government? Can that be a caring government? I see meetings here with farmers on his agenda, meeting with women, meeting with youth, meeting with private sector. You understand me? Why? And in a Delta surge, Ganesh, it boggles the mind.
Sharad, the government, everybody knows. They have already seen the action of the government. They say one thing on paper and they do the other. This government, this installed catfish regime is duplicitous, vindictive, and wicked. Irfaan Ali talks one thing and another thing is being practiced. He talks about oneness. He talks about togetherness. He talks
Mm-hmm.
about building a Guyana for all. He talks about inclusionary democracy. He talks about the corridor of happiness and the Ministry of Happiness and corridor of whatever. But what is it
Unity.
that we're seeing in
Yeah.
practice? What
Yeah.
is it that we're seeing in practice? These people are demons. They are
Yeah.
demons because that is the behavior
Yeah.
of demons. Demons, they say one thing to you and they do something
Yeah.
else. And then they come back in your face, smile, and tell you they didn't do it. That is how wicked and demonic these people are. Let
Which
us turn our
characterizes
attention
this
to the good
Jagabat in the
things.
region? Which characterizes this Jagabat
And
at
that is
Region
why I'm
4, the
turning my
REO?
attention to him now. That is why I'm turning my attention to him now. His name is Donald Gadraj.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Gadraj is the clerk of the council, the clerk of the Regional Democratic Council. That is his first and foremost appointment, clerk of the Regional Democratic Council, because it is from the actions of the RDC every other procedure flows. So Gadraj needs to understand his role. He needs to understand his position that he holds. Now let me break it down for your listeners. Gadraj and all other REOs across the country, they hold three positions. One man with three positions. The three position is first, you're clerk of council, clerk of the executive council, the regional democratic council. The second position you hold, you are the regional executive officer. And the third position you hold as an REO is that you are the accounting officer. Now, Sherrod, in
Talk
order
to us.
for the regional executive officer and accounting officer to have a job, they have to follow what is the guidance given to them from the clerk of council.
I lost Ganesh here momentarily, but he's going to be back, and he's absolutely right. This guy isn't following any rules, he isn't following any form, he isn't following what has been written down there in law about how the REO should function. He is on a frolic of his own. He's on a frolic of his own. Ganesh,
Yes, let me continue. I'm not sure what happened there. But
right ahead.
in order for the regional executive officer and the accounting officer to have work, for them to do their work, they have to follow the guidance given to them by the clerk of council. And the clerk of council has to get his guidance from the regional democratic council.
Uh-huh.
So the first point I want to establish is that when you are going to create a budget for a region, it is the budget that must reflect the will of the people. And that budget has to come from the Regional Democratic Council. The Regional Democratic Council advises the clerk of council as to what they will like to see in the budget as you prepare the budget. Now,
Yeah.
there's certain spending, there are certain figures, there are certain numbers that are a must in a budget. You have statutory expenditure, you have necessary expenditure, and you have needed expenditure. Now, statutory expenditure are expenditure that you cannot change because you may have people who you have to pay a gratuity to, or you
Yeah.
may have people who you have to pay
Yeah.
a pension to. Those are statutory expenditure. You cannot dispute that nor debate that. So that is
He will change it.
standard. You have needed expenditure. Needed expenditure are like people's salary. You have to pay workers their salary. The doctors, the nurses, the cleaners, the teachers, all of these people fall under the regional system, and those are needed expenditure. No, not needed, those are necessary expenditure, sorry. But when you speak about needed expenditure is what the Regional Democratic Council will decide in terms of where a road will have to be fixed based on
Yeah.
its
Yeah. Yeah.
necessity. Where is it that a bridge will have to be fixed? Where is it that you'll have to do some drainage work? Where is it
Yeah.
that you have to do some agriculture work? Or if you will need some more stationery because you're dealing with a little bit more paperwork, or if you will be needing some more sanitizers and other cleaning agents because of the COVID pandemic. These are things that the Regional Democratic Council sit and decide on. And they will advise the REO and well, not the REO, the clerk of council, they will advise him for him to include in the budget proposal, which has to be submitted to the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, then the Ministry of Finance, then the National Assembly. Now, when that budget is approved, it becomes the budget of the Regional Democratic Council. And you will go through your budget, your annual estimates and expenditure, and you will see that Agency 74 is the Regional Democratic Council, headed by a regional chairman. And when that budget is approved, then is when the clerk of council puts on his regional executive officer hat, and he has to execute what is in the budget. He has to execute the work that was approved by the parliament for the Regional Democratic Council. So he has to facilitate now the administrative process in his capacity as regional executive officer, so as to fulfill and satisfy the spending as approved in the parliament. When he puts on his accounting hat as chief accounting officer of the agency, he puts on that hat when it comes to accounting for the spending, when it comes for him to verify all the paperwork to show that there is a legitimacy in the spending, and when he appears in front of the Public Accounts Committee to answer questions on how these monies were spent and to give answers to the findings of the Auditor General. So as much as the individual Donald Gadraj holds three hats, clerk of council, REO, and accounting officer, there are stages and times when he would have to wear a different hat to satisfy a different purpose.
But Ganesh, it sounds as though he is now usurping the powers of the whole council.
He is trying to hoodwink the council. He is a surrogate of the People's Progressive Party, and he is trying his utmost to divide the council. And the council, I believe, would have recognized that he is a demon, and he is trying to drive a wedge between the APNU and the AFC at that council, but he will not succeed. And I know that the council has put him on notice that if he does not recognize his functions and he does not recognize what is it that he has to do, and he continues to go ahead with whatever the PPP tells him, then what comes his way he will have to take and he will have to handle. But we in the APNU AFC will stand firm for the democracy and the electoral authority of the council.
Oh, yes.
Because when we voted at the top of the ballot paper and at the bottom. And the two times that we voted gives us the knowledge that we vote to.
And Ganesh has lost us there again. But again, these are the folks who like to talk about transparency. These are the folks who like to talk about accountability. They love to talk about good governance. They love to talk about rule of law. And as Ganesh said, they love to talk about corridor unity and ministry of happiness. But they aren't practicing any of that. They aren't practicing any of that. And good governance, this can't be good governance at Region 4 at all. Ganesh.
Mr. Duncan, the REO is a creature of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. The accounting officer is a creature. The accounting officer is a creature of the finance secretary, and the clerk of council is a creature of the RDC. And first and foremost, the creature of the RDC cannot want to do as he feels that he can do. He has to take guidance from the RDC. We have to respect this authority, this democracy. When Ronald Bulkan was sitting there as Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Minister Bulkan ensured that he advised all the REOs that they must create a budget that has the full blessings of the RDC. I remember sitting in budget consultation and budget discussion with Julius Faber, that nitwit. I remember sitting with him
Region 3.
in budget consultation in Region 3, and he is another dictator at the local government commission, which we will deal with another night. But I remember sitting with him and him making intervention and providing guidance to the REO, which was followed. I know that there were other REOs, Ovid Morrison, Kerwin Ward, Dennis Jaikaran, you name them, that served under the coalition. The budgets that were presented were budgets of the council and not of an individual. I don't know if Gadraj has his company, because I do know in Region 3, when he was serving as RU and he was kicked out because of his corrupt behavior, and the change of government caused Dennis Jaikaran to come in, Gadraj went and formed a company, and Gadraj started to bid for work. He came to the REO in Region 3. So I don't know if Gadraj has his company in Region 4 there getting work. I will have to find out that. I don't know if he has his company getting jobs in other regions, but I know he's associated to a company. And this corruption that we speak of, that is existing in this country right now, and it is at a level that is beyond repair, it is only being allowed to play within a cluster of people so that they can put monies into their pockets, enriching themselves, while the poorer man stays poor and gets even poorer. Cost of living stays high, gas price stays high, everything gone up in the shops. Even to the hospital, people are crying out. They don't have the required PPEs to protect themselves. Schools, they're forcing to open. You give them a little care package that can only last them a week. You have thousands of students out there, and you only have a few of this and a few of that you're handing to them. And you want to take big pictures. You want to go on glamour show to show as though you care, but you are not going to continue like that, because the people will stand up. And if the people don't stand up, Sherrod, and they allow themselves to continue to be ridden like jackasses, then you're going to have to take what jackasses does take.
Yeah. Ganesh, is any number of things, that has us in a quandary. Any number of things. The COVID front, you got the corruption that is happening, you got the health sector that's in madness, the education sector, the security sector. It's confusion powder. Monday, we're hearing of a lockdown. People are talking of a lockdown. Could you tell us a little bit about that, if you have any knowledge on what's happening on Monday?
Well, all I would say, Mr. Duncan, everything comes back to the people's power. The people's power. It must not be a dictator. The people's power. Now, this thing is not politically driven, as some of them are trying to paint it, as though the AP and UAFC is behind these kind of movements. No, people are more educated and they're standing up on their own.
Exactly.
We are giving them the moral support. We are standing with them in solidarity, because their position is a position that we embrace. Their position is one that we respect. Their position is one that we have campaigned on, and that is to recognize and to endorse people's power, consultation, not dictatorship. We are talking about consultative approach to good governance. The AP and UAFC had it in their 5 years period, and they stick to that, and they will continue to hold to that line. These people are so much more educated than they were 5-10 years ago, that we need to recognize that they are man enough to stand up for themselves and woman enough to stand up for themselves and speak out, because the internet is before them. Information is flowing greater. We provided access to information in great strides, and we are happy about that, because educating our people has caused them to recognize their rights, their responsibilities, and they know what are the fundamentals. So they're not going to continue to be hoodwinked, or they're not going to continue to be cheated by a cabal that only seems to want to hog everything for themselves and stay within a confine of their own and enrich themselves. It's not going to happen. The catfish
Exactly.
man is going to Essequibo. He will get what he rightfully deserves there.
Yeah, yeah, and I was made to understand that they have in at least in Anna Vagina there, they are saying to folks that not to lock all the teachers because they don't want him to be protested when he comes. So they have kind of slacking up, enforcing that rule there.
But I've noticed a few actions in certain areas that are deemed the People's Progressive Party area. I've noticed that there are certain schools where they're not asking for the blue book. They're not asking for the blue book. I passed through yesterday at Lagrange Primary School and I observed that the blue book is not being asked for. I am told that it is not being asked for at Windsor Forest Primary School. I am told that it is
I
not
wonder
being
why.
asked for at Leonora Primary School. It's not being asked for at
I wonder why it's not being asked for in those places, just like the hospitals we're hearing of in Region 6, that the Blue Book is not being asked for in those places as well, just as in the hospitals in Region 6. And folks, before we go, we want to share some of the protest action that has been happening across the country with you. So Ganesh is back with us. Ganesh was saying that this is just like we're hearing in Region 6, where in lots of the hospitals, the Blue Book is not being asked for.
Sherrod, I am going to say again to your viewers, the power of the government is dependent on the power that we give them as the people. The power of a government is dependent on the power we give them as a people. And if we want them to ride us, then they will ride us. And if we want them to not ride us, they will not ride us. But the people must come out. The people must sound their voices. The people must speak. The people must do what is necessary. We have gone we are currently at a stage where enough is enough and it has reached to too much. And it is about time we put a stopping to this nonsense that is happening in our country. We had a proper country. We had a country where respect for our men and women in uniform, where respect for our public servants, where respect for the working class was there for 5 strong years. Increase in your salary was a must. Every year it was guaranteed. We tried our best to keep this country stable, and we wanted to promote social cohesion to its highest point, where you, Sherrod, and I, Ganesh Mahipaul, can hold hand and walk comfortably, knowing that we are brothers. We can embrace each other irrespective of our skin color or our texture. But we do not have that now. We have segregation. We have a government that is focusing on feeding one set of people and creating a different treatment for another class of people. I cannot live in a Guyana like this. I cannot live in a Guyana where we have 6 races and they're all separate. I want a Guyana where it is one people, one nation, one destiny. I want a Guyana where my children and your children can grow up knowing that they can love each other in harmony and work with each other to develop the country better for their offspring. I want a better Guyana. And for me to get a better Guyana, I have to fight the PPP because they would not give me it unless I fight them. That is what I see.
Yeah. And Ganesh, as I have your attention here, and before you go, I'm being made to understand a little breaking news that a couple nights ago we covered the issue of the Speaker of the National Assembly Secretary being COVID positive, Miss Jaitoon there. And we learned that several staff members will have undergone the COVID test. We can report this evening that 6 staff for the National Assembly have been confirmed as COVID positive. And so we're watching that. And as we have more information, we'll give it to our viewers. Any thoughts, Ganesh, before I let you go?
Well, all I will have to say is that this wicked administration has to change the direction in which they're looking. Stop forcing people to take the vaccines, because when they do take the vaccines, they can still get the COVID-19, and start spending money on the preventative measures. Start spending money on the preventative measures. I am afraid, Sherrod, to send my son to school because I don't know the environment he's going into. I don't know if they are regularly sanitizing the classrooms. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
if the teachers are monitoring the children to ensure that they wear their face masks correctly. I don't know if the teachers will ensure that they stay 6 feet apart. And I don't believe that the teachers have the energy to always focus on the children. So
yeah.
that is why the government has to look in a different direction. Focus on the preventative measures. If you can't do it, pack up and get out. And let the competent leaders in the AP and UAFC show you how to lead.
And we are going to end our discussion on that very, very high note. Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipaul and Shadow Minister for the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. We know it as Ministry of Communities. Ganesh, thanks again for spending this time with us.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Duncan, and good night to you and all your viewers.
Thanks again, Ganesh. Folks, there you have it, the one and the only, the one and only. Before you go, I want to show you guys some of the protest activities that happened over the last 24 hours. And again, as I have your attention there, I'm going to ask you guys to continue to consider partnering with us. We need your help. We are getting the visual queued up there. We need your help, and so we're asking you guys to come on board. We have several platforms available. You can partner with us for as low as $5, 10, 15, $20 per month. We have the Cash App feature. Is the $ in the ring 592 at Cash App. It's in the ring 592 at gmail.com for our PayPal. And when you go into PayPal, you choose whatever feature there says personal. Again, it's in the ring 592 at gmail.com for the PayPal. And then we're available in the MMG system. Not only are we available in the MMG system, the number that you can call there for the MMG system, it is 627-6963, 627-6963 to be a part of what's happening on the MMG system, to donate via MMG. And you can also, folks, you can also make any queries you want to make on that very number at WhatsApp, 627-6963. And of course, we're available via MoneyGram and also via Western Union. That bit of information out of the way, folks. I want to show you what would have transpired over the last 24 hours in sense of the protests around the country, folks, around the country. Take a look at this, and then when this is done, I'm going to come back and we're going to say our goodbyes. So in the meantime, folks, take a look and see what has been happening around the country. Yep.
We are here to support the nurses. We are here to support the doctors in Guyana and every other person all across this country. Yes. We are here to make a statement. We are here to tell the government, stop the discrimination. Whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, we believe that should be an individual choice. And we are here to show our solidarity to everyone across this nation, to let them understand that we have a choice. We all have a choice in this country. And we want the government to stop the discrimination against every individual in this country. Because we believe that the unvaccinated person must not be discriminated. They must not have two different approaches, whether you are vaccinated or unvaccinated. And one of the things I want to say is that many times, the government putting serious measure into place and saying it's not mandatory. But we know and we believe it's mandatory. Because when you make a decision to accept a CPR test, which is $25,000, the average amount which is 125 US dollar, and the average Guyanese is earning 305 US dollar. How we can do a PCR test? So I'm calling on the government. I'm calling on the government to reconsider the guidelines, the COVID guideline. We are calling on the government to reconsider the COVID guideline. We are taxpayer. We paying taxes like any other person in this nation. And we are calling on the government for equal rights, so that we can have access to every institution, because we are taxpayer in this nation. This is my cry to the government today.
The reason why we are protesting here today at CJIA is because we were told that if we are not vaccinated, we cannot work, we cannot enter the terminal building, we cannot enter the compound, we will be locked out, and we be deprived from working. And I don't think that is right. I don't think that is fair, because when the coronavirus had first started, we as security here at CJIA work in and out day after day and night after night, tracking people with the coronavirus. So I don't think why they're supposed to be so ungrateful to us today. So I would like them to reconsider that. Teachers,
come on, no vaccine, no entry into church. My body, my body. Say no to forced vaccination. My body, my choice. Sister Zita, are you with us? Good morning. You see they want to stop all the church?
Well, if they stop the church still got to go on.
All right.
Church is Jesus' church.
our body, our choice. Our choice.
Ayan, come here.
Okay, so we're here at the NDC office. We're here at the NDC office at Matthews Ridge, along with teachers and some parents in support.
Our choice. Our choice.
Vaccinated or unvaccinated, all teachers have to comply the same. We support the unvaccinated. All right. My choice. My choice. My choice. Teachers.
My body, my choice.
Teacher were here and now there are zero. Teacher were here and now.
This is what the police are doing right presently now at Frida Noops telling, stopping people from traveling. And everybody here, sir, is boatmen. Everybody there just keep violating boatmen. This is what going on with what the police are doing. They install PPP government, and this is what they're doing to it. This is the police. This is the police. This is what the police that are harassing this man is, sir. This is happening right about now by the Frida Noops police station. This is what they're discharging the boat because of people rights. They install PPP government. This is what they're doing to we. This is what happening here, sir.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Coretta McDonald's cohorts, ambitious cohorts, among other folks there. Her ambitious cohorts, and you know, as we were getting ready to say our goodbyes, we saw a familiar face popped into our studio, and since we made you guys promises, we can't have Coretta McDonald in the studio and doesn't say hello and give some context to what has been happening. Coretta McDonald, you and your ambitious cohorts, y'all have got.
My good friend Sherrod Duncan. Thanks for always having me on your program. Sherrod, you know, on the lighter side of it, let me say, if there wasn't a Sherrod Duncan and a Coretta McDonald for Priya, I think her life would have been miserable. And
I think so too.
I think we add that kind of spice and that kind of color and light to her life. Because there is the time that you don't hear Coretta McDonald, Sherrod Duncan. Sherrod Duncan, Coretta McDonald.
Oh yes. So we are a little into our overtime. We are a tad bit into our overtime. But Coretta, tell us what happened today. I wasn't able to come on the ground there, but tell us what has been happening and what is the mood of the teachers. I saw twice the crowd we saw yesterday, and I told our audience here, you know, one newspaper said there were hundreds yesterday. Today there were thousands. Talk to us.
Well, you know, Sherrod, the thing is, teachers have recognized, teachers know what they're about. But I am happy that parents have recognized that this issue, this struggle is not about teachers against parents or those who are vaxxed against those who are unvaxxed. This is a real struggle where this government eyes past people and they want to bully people. And so the whole issue with the teachers' struggle is a two-pronged one. It's one that deals with the government neglecting on purpose to deal with our outstanding aspects of the agreement. And then it has now been coupled with COVID, the locking out of teachers. Let me say they use and they abuse, and now they're throwing out, locking out of teachers. Because when you can bring police ranks to escort teachers out of school, then you know that gone to another level. Mm-hmm. But very well. Our business, I don't know what is happening there with us.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, it's boots on the ground tomorrow. Again, we're going to have Coretta back with us in a second. As we wrap up, folks, we're a tad bit in the overtime. And I was just telling the audience that I guess there's boots back on the ground tomorrow. And then on Monday again.
Boots on the ground tomorrow. Boots on the ground tomorrow. Today we had the support of 3 buses coming from Linden with other teachers who were driving their personal vehicles. We had buses from West Coast and East Berbice today joining us. Tomorrow, it's boots on the ground. As a matter of fact, we had teachers from Pukwani and Aichuni who left their homes at 4 o'clock in the morning to be out there. Tomorrow, they're going to be out there again. Fantastic. And so it's going to be boots on the ground. And just want to be a little funny to say that our teachers, don't mess with them.
Yeah.
They can all the chance for you. So when you hear our teachers talk about, I don't know if you got it there, Sharon, but your bully on your boss on Facebook or your bully up on Facebook, but come out here and meet the teachers. Come and talk to me out here.
Yeah. Yes. And what we have seen is a minister, an installed minister who has gone into seclusion and into hiding from her own teachers.
Sharon, you and I know, and everybody out there would have recognized, if the Ministry of Education had their hands on this situation, man, Facebook couldn't take off the post from our good friend. Facebook would have been filled all over. But the mere fact that you didn't see that press conference, you know exactly what's up. Yeah. And so when we get those fake news from the Guyana Chronicle and News Source, and so telling you about 89% of the teachers turn out in primary school and 83 in the nursery schools, how can we have 89 when district region 10, 100% shut down?
Yeah.
In Port Kaituma, 100% shut down. How you still getting all these percentages? In regions 9, in Lethem, particularly in Anai, we have seen the teachers there in their numbers.
Yeah. And we were showing their teachers in Matthews Ridge coming out.
In Matthews Ridge, in Maruka.
Yeah.
Cariveton, I just want to highlight Cariveton, we have seen for the first time almost complete shutdown except for one school. Complete shutdown in Cariveton. Regions 5, regions 3. I mean, we must be honest with ourselves, Sherrod. We must call the numbers out for who they are. And we know at the Guyana Teachers Union that we would never, ever, ever have 100% support coming from our teachers. But whenever we say boots on the ground, which is the new talk now, is real boots on the ground, real boots. And so tomorrow we will continue that. And then we continue next week. Next week we continue in every region across this country. So Sherrod, I'm going to have to take you along with me to some of these regions.
I'm coming. I'm ready. I got time of boots right now. I can tell
boots right now. Be ready. And you know, I want us to know that our teachers, and I'm saying this again I'm saying it on this program here for the second time for tonight, because I just came off of one. Our teachers have decided to take up the challenge that came from that geriatric.
Yeah.
We are in talks with persons who can source the Pfizer vaccines for us. I
Good.
hope when we give you the proposal, you're ready to accept it.
Yes.
Don't call when talks out there.
Yes.
And so our
Yes.
teachers are saying
Call the
now
bluff.
that if they can take a vaccine, they're taking Pfizer vaccine.
Yeah.
For those
Call
of
the
us
bluff.
who don't want to take the vaccines as yet, we're telling you, release those restrictions because you're preventing us from going to the banks. You're preventing us from going to GRA to conduct our duty-free business. You're preventing us from going to NIS and even the departments of education.
Yeah.
Release those restrictions and make the testing free of cost. Our teachers are willing to be tested every single day, and we gone back in the classrooms. But more so, we want the Pfizer vaccines for those who have indicated that they're taking the vaccines now. We want Pfizer, and we can submit our proposal to you. And when we submit it to you, we will make it public. And then
Very
we will
well.
test the draft.
Very well. But, Coretta, I know it's late, but I'm hearing and I'm feeling that fire in your belly there. Boots on the ground tomorrow.
Sharon, there's plenty energy, plenty energy.
Good. I want to let you go. I know you've had a long day, and we are going to catch up tomorrow again, folks. Boots on the ground. I think you start at 9 o'clock there, or 10 o'clock. Folks are going to be gathered. 10 o'clock. So, folks, come on down in front of the Ministry of Education. It's the one just over Camp Street, not the one higher up Brickdam. Boots on the ground, folks. Coretta McDonald, Member of Parliament and also General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union. I want to thank you for joining me this evening and bringing context to what's happening here. Thanks very much, Coretta.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Great. Folks, that's our time this evening. Continue to social distance, continue to sanitize, continue to wear your masks, folks. Practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones, folks. Continue to do that. Like our page while you're at it. Come on board with us and partner. The information is pinned to my Facebook page at Shared Avery Duncan. The information is there. Come on board and partner with us. And for those of you who have gone into the overtime with us, thanks for staying with us. We had so much information to share with you this evening. We really wanted you to have it and have the views of Ganesh and Coretta McDonald as well. Thanks for staying with us. Do stay safe, ladies and gentlemen.